medicinal? Not sure, maybe. Sounds pretty poisonous, right? Yeah. So when people say like food is medicine, it's like, no, not really. We're going to define what that is, and we're going to talk about nutrient density. We're going to talk about regenerative farming. Has anyone heard of regenerative farming before? Ooh, a few. Okay, so if you know nothing about regenerative farming, we'll talk about what that is. If you want to watch a documentary on it, Kiss the Ground on Netflix is a great way to learn about how regenerative farming is revolutionizing planet health, plant health, and human health. So we'll go through all that, and we'll get right into it, all right? I love Albert Einstein. I'm really into math and Excel formulas, so I really like him. We obviously can't solve problems that we need, with the same kind of thinking that we used when we created them. So, like, when we talk about regenerative farming, conventional farming is what we're mostly doing. And farmers, we just thought we were feeding the world and doing what we needed to do to give people food, right? We didn't know. And there's some new science that came around in the 90s that's really being accessible now. So people know that this monocropping, like just growing one thing over and over and over, is destroying our soil, which is destroying plant health, which is destroying our health. So it's all connected, and we're going to talk about that. So I want to talk a little bit about my story, but I kind of do a certain spiel every time. I want to try something a little bit different because we're in this holistic community, and my healing journey has kind of gone along with my entrepreneurial journey and how I kind of figured out food is medicine. And I did that by walking that walk and figuring that out for myself. And a lot of practitioners that are adjacent or here today have helped to heal me too, or have facilitated me finding my own healing. So like all of us, I've been through lots of trauma and found healing through yoga, breath work, acupuncture, cupping, chiropractic work, massage therapy, meditation, lots of spiritual connection to myself. And it was through going through quite an incredible crisis to be able to find myself and to be connected to nature again. And all those crisis situations are an opportunity to come back to yourself. And what I believe is that everything that's a disease in the body has an emotional component to it. But food is this great way to really help yourself get to a point where then you can really look at some of those things. Because if your body doesn't have the nutrients it needs, it's not going to be able to heal itself. So I think food is a great entry point for people to raise their consciousness. We'll talk about seed consciousness today, and I'll talk about a really cool book I want to share with you that will be available at the FreshRx booth afterwards. So I started working at a retirement community when I was 15 years old, and I just fell deeply in love with older people. I thought they were the coolest people I'd ever met because they didn't care what anyone else thought. They said whatever was on their mind, and they were hilarious and wise and beautiful people. And I fell in love with 135 residents, 55 and older. I worked as a dishwasher and server, and then I was promoted to front desk and emergency response from 4 till midnight. I worked in all levels of long-term care, from assisted living all the way to skilled nursing and in hospice care. And it was the only thing I remember that I loved going to work to do. And I know so many people that hate their jobs, so I thought, well, I guess I should major in gerontology. But I didn't know that was a degree, and my father and my mother are both in mental health. And they said, Erin, why don't you do gerontology? And I said, Dad, that's not even a degree. I don't even know what you're talking about. And of course, I had moved out to LA at the time. I grew up in Tulsa. Moved out to LA to experience something new, and found the #1 school of gerontology in the world. So gerontologists really understand how to navigate all the systems of aging. But what I found out was there were some myths about aging. Like I just thought, well, when you get older, you get a disease and you die, right? And when you're older, you have these things and you fall, and you're on 15 or more prescription drugs per year if you're 65 or older in the United States. But I heard in my classes that those are a myth, that pain is not a natural part of aging. Disease is not a natural part of aging. I thought, well, that's weird because all my clients are on 15 to 32 prescription drugs. So what's going on here? What is the deal? So then I traveled to Italy with USC. I studied death and dying, and I got to see how people age in a blue zone. People know what a blue zone is? Right, where the largest amount of centenarians, people 100 or older, live in these concentrated areas. And they're all over the world, right? We even got one in Loma Linda, California. Why is that? Seventh-day Adventists, they eat vegetarian. Okay? All of these places are all over the world, and they all have these things in common. The things in common are they exercise, they have a close connection to community. Even in communities that smoke and drink heavily but have a close connection to community, they live longer, believe it or not. So emotional underneath all of it, but food has this giant ripple effect. And it's something that we don't have really good access to, and I'm going to share how you can do that. But let me back up just a second. So when I graduated with my master's in gerontology, I still had no idea that soil health had anything to do with human health, which is really funny. But I had a close friend who is the executive director of Kiss the Ground, that documentary I told you about. They have a soil advocacy program where 6 to 8 weeks, anyone in the world can take these classes. And you study the soil science. Well, with this conventional farming, what's happened over time is, so there's dirt and then there's soil. What makes soil is something called soil organic matter. It's all the things that are alive in the soil, the decay of the microbes, and that's where all the nutrients is in the soil. So they're made soil aggregates. When you have that, not clay soil, but more crumbly soil, you can tell the difference. So what's happened over time is it should be 10% in the soil. So this would be a great nutrient-dense soil. Over time, with practices over 100 years, it's 1% or less, and a lot less in a lot of areas. That's why we have all these problems with topsoil running off. It's our largest export because we are constantly running off the topsoil. And if we don't have topsoil, which is the top 1 to 6 inches where most things grow, we don't have food. So regenerative farming is more like holistic management. It's really what indigenous people really know, what they naturally have farmed. So they have biodiverse, which means they don't grow just one thing. They have lots of different things. They don't spray chemicals. And what happens is when they really focus on soil health, their plants become resistant to disease. There's more nutrients in them. And actually, in the last 100 years, you used to be able to eat an orange and get the same amount of vitamin A and vitamin C in that orange, right? Now you have to eat 8 oranges to get that same vitamin A and vitamin C. The soil does not translate the nutrients. The fungi do that. And we've been killing the fungi, the major translator, the major connector, which I'm a huge fan of mushrooms, any kind, all the kinds, not the poisonous ones, obviously, but they're incredible for the soil, but incredible for us too. So what's great about regenerative farming is that it's rebuilding this soil organic matter, and it can happen pretty quick. So you want to know, where are you sourcing your food from? This is what's happened over time. This was just from 1940 to 1991. Look how copper declined by 76%, calcium by 46%, iron by 27%, magnesium by 24%. Even in meat, how much it's declined. And this was, over 30 years ago. This is how much it declined then. How much do you think it's declined now? And if it's not grown well, and if it's not local, if it's shipped, so you think, that organic whole food stuff is super good? Well, when it's shipped, within 72 hours, it loses 30 to 50% of its nutrients. So if you're not buying local food and you're not buying regeneratively grown food, you're not getting very good nutrients. So I think this directly correlates, this depletion in our soil, with the increase in chronic conditions. This is a projection for 2023. We know that people are sicker and sicker and sicker, right? You all know this is the truth. So farmers all over the world are trying to convert to regenerative farming. This is really important. So this is a fancy definition, but simply isn't regenerating. So how they certify people is they look at their topsoil 1 to 6 inches versus 6 to 12 to see if that soil organic matter is regenerating and getting bigger. And that's how they know that the farmer must be using practices. So there's a ton, it's like the Wild West with regenerative certifications. So there's obviously the organic certifications, but if you can find regenerative organic or regenerative certified foods, then you're gonna know that some of their practices have been vetted. And that's really interesting to know. So eventually there'll be only 1 or 2, but right now there's like 7. It's kind of like the brand new Wild West with that. So I love Dan Kittredge's work. If you don't know about Dan Kittredge, Bionutrient Association, I think it's bionutrient.org, he's doing what's called nutrient density research. So he's looking at foods from conventional grown foods, organic grown food, regenerative grown food, and he's seeing how much the nutrient density varies. Spinach can vary from 1 to 365. That means you have to eat 365 pieces of that one spinach to get what you could have gotten in one. And it varies on where it's grown and how it's grown, but his studies have shown so they surveyed 21 crops. They have higher elements of calcium, iron, potassium, magnesium, zinc, and sulfur, and they also measure antioxidants and polyphenols. And these are what's considered the key nutrient for human health, right? Also, when you have all the nutrients that you need, your body, your brain says, I'm satiated, so I can stop eating now. Well, even if you're eating like fruits and vegetables, but they're not nutrient dense, you're going to just keep eating and it's more calories, right? And your tongue knows the difference. Your tongue can taste the difference. This food is incredible. So how do you get it? I'm going to talk about this first. This is the FreshRx Food as Medicine program in North Tulsa. There's 5 zip codes in the state of Oklahoma where most people are dying from diabetes. 3 out of 5 of those are in North Tulsa. Why? Because they don't have access to good produce and for many, many other socioeconomic, trauma, racial inequalities, and other reasons. So, Tulsa Food Security Council had a doctor who said, hey, everyone's compliant with their medications, but they're not getting better. Their diabetes is uncontrolled, and we can't control it with medications, with what our clinic can do. So he heard about a FreshRx kind of program. So there's 200 FreshRx kind of programs in the United States where they prescribe fruits and vegetables to people with chronic diseases. A lot of which are type 2 diabetes because it's something that's most accepted as something that can reverse with food and exercise, right? So we raised $185,000 to treat uncontrolled type 2 diabetes individuals, residents of North Tulsa. And I want to share one of our participants' experiences with
it. Access to locally grown fresh fruits and vegetables is really improving our health.
She participates in the FreshRx Food program and tells News on 60 Cellular Busing she's already seeing an improvement in her diabetes numbers.
Well, you got a lot of colors there.
Oh yeah, that makes it pretty. That makes it pretty.
Welcome to Deborah Cooper's kitchen.
We'll put my peppers and onions in first. Like I said, they don't make you feel like you're getting a handout. It's like come and get some longevity.
It hasn't always been this way.
I was best friends with Mom and Debbie and their snack cakes.
Deborah says unhealthy foods were also friendlier to her budget and at times much more accessible than fresh local produce. Over the years, Deborah's sweet tooth started attacking her health. She was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in June. And as a patient at Crossover Health Services was connected with the FreshRx team.
Our body can heal itself if it gets what it needs.
FreshRx is partnered with Oklahoma farmers, community partners, and patients at Crossover Health Services to bring fresh, locally grown produce to 52 participants with dangerously high A1C levels and type 2 diabetes.
Food is medicine and it has this huge ripple effect.
Deborah is one with FreshRx participants. In less than 11 weeks, her A1C levels have gone from a 10.6 to a 7.1.
They gave us all of these recipes with the items we were picking up. So that's like you gave me not just a card, but you gave me the keys too. And I have even passed up Debbie. I see where they set them out. I just hold my head up and say, girl, bye.
Deborah is a pastor of the Growth Ministry, and her physical health is starting to match her spiritual health. She says the same results are possible for others.
What I'm called to do, I want to be here to finish it, and I want to do it in excellence. And this program, it is like changing real outcomes, real food, real people.
So I'm impressed with the home zone.
You should have your own cookie show.
So we had 52 participants in our first year. 40 out of those 52 graduated after 12 months. That's an incredible retention rate when you have people with grandchildren being shot. Incredible trauma going on. I'm amazed they stayed in the program. I think because we offered a lot of support, hugs, you can do this, you're worth it. I think that was really a beautiful part of it. And so this is a 6-month shot, but so let me tell you, after 12 months, 30 out of 40 of those participants had some reduction in their A1C. The average reduction was 2.2%, which is huge. So they stop it at 14. They don't even measure past 14. And we had people anyone over an 8, which is uncontrolled. So you're at a high risk for having stroke, amputation, heart attack, kidney failure, all of these types of things. So the cost savings is huge at this point to have an intervention. So if we reduce someone's A1C by 1 to 2% of the year, we're saving healthcare costs $16,000 to $24,000 per year per person. 30 out of the 40 had a reduction with an average of 2.2% reduction. Our largest reduction was from a 14 to a 6.9. Collectively, 40 of those participants, out of those 40, they lost over 300 pounds. We doubled our money from our funders, and we're enrolling 100 new people. We only source local regenerative food. I'm super strict. I said, if I'm doing this, that's how we're going to source, because we'll stimulate local farmers. So even though you may not qualify for the program directly, you may not know a loved one who would, but how you can help is by stimulating local food production to these regenerative farmers that I'm going to tell you about. So obviously, Hippocrates, we've heard this, we know this, everyone in this room knows this very well, right? How to get involved. Buy local and buy regenerative. Who's heard of Robinson Ranch? Yeah! She's one of our awesome producers. You can subscribe on her website, RobinsonRanchVeggies.com. Follow her on all social medias. She will deliver to your house. So whether you buy from us, we're an aggregator, so we aggregate about 20 local farms. If you want to buy from our individual farms, please. Them expanding helps us expand and reach more people. Resilient Growers, amazing, another female grower, okay? ResilientGrowers.com. She also has a CSA, which might be full, but she's also at the Tulsa Farmers Market. If you want to buy from her there. Resilient Growers, that's Rachel and Brent Summers, incredible group. And then obviously you go to FreshRx.org. You can sign up for reminders over at our booth on when you can buy from us, and we aggregate all that food, so you're not limited to one. Although Robinson Ranch, she does source, I think, from some other vendors and kind of put stuff together, so you can have a wide variety of things. And then TulsaFarmersMarket.org every Saturday morning, so this morning, at Admiral and Lewis every Saturday morning, and then they go to, I think, every other during the winter months, but they're all year round. So you can always access local food. Buying produce from the grocery store is last century. It's not hip anymore, so don't do that. You're going to have to, and we want to stimulate diversity of crops in the local food scene. So as we help these farmers grow and purchase from them, they're able to grow new stuff and different things, because obviously it's limited. And so the more that we start putting the money into these local farmers, the more that we can do that. So FreshRx does that. We provide a market that the farmer can rely on, where they don't have to go to the farmer's market. They can just wholesale to us. So we have a pop-up we give out to our participants, and then we sell to the public every other week. So humans can live regeneratively, and you can regenerate at any age. So don't let anyone tell you that you're too old, it's too late. That's BS in my opinion, and that's ageism. So I have a treat for you all today, and I want to leave it open for questions. I wanted to get through that pretty quick. I went to the San Juan Mountain Range to camp for like 5 days. Recently, and a good friend of mine who works in the regenerative field, Dr. Al Tubes, he wrote something called The Seed Remembers. And if this is something that you're really interested in diving deeper into how indigenous people farmed over time, how they actually modified corn and beans, so it had 18% protein in it. The corn we get access to is not the corn that they have worked so hard for tens of thousands of years to create, and how they lived off of this stuff, right? So this is called glass gem, and this is an incredible rainbow corn. But this really explains the spirituality of growing this book. And in a fictional, like, fun story, a love story through different time periods, it's really good. I read it all up on the mountain, and my mind was just going. I thought, more people should know about this. And this might be a fun way if you want to learn more to really understand this. But I wanted to share a little excerpt from this. These will be available for sale at the FreshRx booth right after this, and Al's here, the author, and he will sign copies for you. They're going to be just $20. So come buy one if you're interested. So what's beautiful is this really talks about seed consciousness. We talk a lot about consciousness, but seeds remember what they're supposed to be. And we also have a purpose, and what we remember that our purpose is, and that it's our job to fulfill that purpose, right? You see, a mustard seed, though small, expresses itself as one of the largest plants in the garden. It becomes a plant so large that even birds are able to nest in its branches. The mustard seed is integrated with its creator, so it remembers how it was created and what it was created to be. It does not try to become a coconut tree or a squash plant. The mustard seed remembers its encoded message to become a mustard plant. Thus, it experiences the fulfillment of its purpose. It is Creator's intention that we in human form fulfill our destiny, just as the wee mustard seed does. Our relationship with the Creator makes this possible. You see, relationship is the adhesive in our biological and spiritual world. It is magical and mysterious, yet quite simply it upholds the balance in Creator's universe. So this is actually based on some truth. Al was able to meet a man named Carl who had the largest seed library of indigenous corn and beans. And I actually have some for you. Afterwards, after I'm going to take some questions, I have some of this glass gem for you to take home that you can grow. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. You can also pop it as popcorn and other things. You can ask Al more about it when you come by his book. But I just want to open it up for questions, and then you all are welcome to come up and take one of those and meet us out the booth afterwards. So this is the book right here, and then here's all my information. Any questions? So this is a no-brainer. I would say if you don't care about humans, like, this is a great ROI, right? Huge return on investment. So other private insurance companies, if you have relationships with medical directors or people that make decisions on what the insurance pays for, city should be also supporting the local farmers and where the sourcing is coming from, and paying attention to who they're funding and where they're sourcing food from. So these are conversations that you can be having with colleagues, family members, your legislators, and really, really promoting that food get prescribed as medicine for people, and that it's sourced locally and regeneratively. So we want all that to happen, but we don't want like a food as medicine provider to come in and then just source from wherever. We want it to stay in Oklahoma, right? Or at least like state border adjacent. So great question. Thank you very much. That's one of my, from the beginning, I was like, how is this going to be sustainable? So that's what we're working on. We have 2 senators involved, and we're really working hard on Oklahoma Healthcare Authority to get this paid for. There's a Food as Medicine Coalition nationally. There are medically tailored meals that are paid for through insurance, but it's still not locally regeneratively sourced. I've heard it's no better than Meals on Wheels. So speak up and talk to people that can make decisions, or if you know someone that I can influence, I'd be happy to talk their ear off. So, well, come get some corn, everyone. Thank you so much. And we'll be back at the FreshRx booth if you want to get a signed copy of the book. Fascinating, beautiful, beautiful story.
Thank you so much.